is up, you heathens and demons, sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous bastards. Except you, Wilkin, Kate, and Smokey saying, fuck you guys. How y'all doing? I've had a busy day, super busy day. I considered covering the anti-Semitic comments by Kanye West earlier today. Before I went out on my job interviews, but I decided ultimately, because Jimmy Lew is talking to our good old friend the preacher tonight over on the JawnSpot. I figured I'd show Jimmy some love and let you guys know it's happening. It's gonna. I got the link to the stream in the description. Go check it out. Give Jimmy some support. If you're awake around 11 Eastern, I might not be awake. I might be there for a little bit at the very beginning, but like I said, I'm already tired. I am drinking some coffee. Oh, I was like, what the hell are you talking about, girl? But you talking to Jason. But yes, I'm drinking some coffee, trying to wake myself up. Coffee at night usually gives me the jitters, so I don't know how effective it's going to be. But I wanted to do this. I met, I've known about Jimmy for a long time. We have a mutual friend in Andy Hall. Our paths just never really crossed. I never had the chance to meet him on Andy's channel, but our paths did cross, and it crossed on my appearance on the JawnSpot last weekend, the very same one where I showed you guys, Smokey came back, all of that. This is earlier that evening. And I think we make a pretty good team. Jimmy's very passionate. He's a comedian, I believe, so he has this really just energetic, comedic kind of approach that he has, and it's really it's just full of energy. It's really passionate, and we teamed up on a couple Christians. We teamed up on Otangelo had come in, and it was an open panel, one like we teamed up, but Otangelo had come in. The preacher comes in later after this, and like I said, it was really I think the preacher being there was like the perfect mixture for Will Kincaid to come in. When somebody as arrogant and cocky as the preacher comes in, it's easy to make somebody your common enemy, even with such an extensive history like me and Will had. And preacher is preacher. I haven't talked to the preacher in a while. I considered showing the interaction because, he's really obsessed that he thinks I'm afraid of him. He's really obsessed with me blocking him off of my channel. Which I never did. I just said I would never talk. I wasn't going to have him on this channel to speak to him. I said I'd go to his channel to speak to him. But yeah, so Jimmy Lew is talking tonight. I'll show you guys. It says 2 hours, but YouTube can't count. It's really like 3 hours. Go support Jimmy. Now, as we get through this, I'm going to comment. I'll be honest. But I really do think like me and Jimmy work well as a team, and I think we both have rather simple approaches. Like, say if you're going to like compare us to like a philosophical atheist or whatever, but I think we both I think our approaches work because I have several approaches to my game, but I always have that rage to pull out of the hat. So it really could become a good team type deal if we work together in the future. With that aspect, with his jovial yet energetic and straight to the point rhetoric, and then my ability to rage out on a motherfucker being stupid. So we have talked about like maybe doing some work in the future. I really enjoyed Jimmy. I'm really glad that I got to meet him, and I thought I'd do this tonight. I'd show that this one specific interaction with this Christian that I've encountered in a few side chats calls himself Private Wars, and he really thought he was going to come in and school the atheist and be able to defend everything with his Christian worldview. And I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. But how are y'all doing? I seen that John Hudson was here. How you doing, John? My dude. Chosen one in a kilt. Marty is here. Puffalupicus. Gurmania. What's up, man? Jason Jacoby. Zia Maramu. anybody that's going to join as we go through this, anybody that's going to watch the replay, I thought this was an interesting conversation. And, like, it seems to kind of be my style now when I'm in these rooms and I'm not, like, just fucking drunk. I'm not really going to dominate a room. I'm gonna allow other people to dominate a room and kind of, it's a newer tactic that I'm developing. Not be so rage. Let other people be the star, and then I can just kind of pipe in when it's relevant. So that's kind of what you're gonna get in this. I'm not sure if we'll get into the scientism, but Jimmy's a big science. He trusts science, and to the point, like, some of his rhetoric will get a little into this like scientism type shit, where that would be like my only advice is, support science for sure, but like don't. The moment that you say like science is everything, Christians are going to latch onto that and start calling it your religion. So like that's the only thing that I've really found with Jimmy that I'll be like, maybe just kind of touch that up. But that's trial and error. That's what happens when you do this YouTube thing. So yeah, if you guys don't know who Jimmy Lew is, you're about to meet him. What does he call himself here on YouTube? It's fucking hilarious. It's the Reverend Brother. Fuck. The Reverend Brother Heathen, something like that. It's fucking hilarious. So without further ado, we'll get into this. And like I said, this is all just kind of, he's going to be on the JawnSpot, just him and Preacher, I think. They might open it up. But as far as I know, this is them two going at it. So we'll see how it goes tonight. That starts at 11 Eastern. Over on the JawnSpot here, we'll throw that link in the side chat as well. Yeah, go check it out. Give him some love. Let's see, Pat's here. How you doing, Pat? Thought I saw somebody else, but I think I'm mistaking Puff as just like out of the corner of my eye. I thought I mistaken Puff's avatar for Dr. Josh. So we'll get right into this.
For my popsicle, right?
Hey, yo.
All right, now Private Wars is the guy that's calling himself Sandivistan Cyberware, whatever. Like I said, I've ran into this guy a couple side chats. I think he's might have left me a couple comments under the Private Wars handle. But this definitely wasn't like the first time I had seen him. And you're gonna hear it. He comes in pretty confident.
Yo, if y'all want to chip in a couple bucks to get her a bottle of Pepto.
Oh. Hey,
I forgot that I didn't take it back to where I needed to take it back. So we need to go to 131.20. I was doing a little pre-screening of what I wanted to watch tonight. So, like it happened the other day. Well, I used the wrong video altogether, so the pre-screening wouldn't have even mattered. But sometimes you need to pre-screen your pre-screening, right? Make sure you got the wrong shit. But it was like one of my old videos, and sometimes in my older videos, I would use rhetoric that I would never use now, and I would use it in order to make a point. Pre-screening is extremely important. It's happened on Gerst Streams a couple times where he's ran into some like boring reviews, and I'm like, pre-screen everything, my dude. Pre-screen everything, because even like you can think it's gonna be like the best shit in the world, and then it is like the most boring shit in the world. That's actually how I came across Coffee and Bible Time, because when I first started doing YouTube, I would never pre-screen anything. I thought like cold reactions, best reactions, that's what people wanted to see, right? And then you find boring ass fucking shit like Coffee and Bible Time that'll put you to fucking sleep. And the only reason I continue to do it, even though the shit was boring, is that her crazy ass fans or their crazy ass fans found out about him, and I was getting trolled by a lot of Christians. So it was bringing a lot of Christian views. I loved it.
Cyberware? Yeah, that's some cyberpunk shit.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, this is Private Wars.
Fuck. Oh, it's Private Wars. Welcome back, dude.
And there's JawnSpot. JawnSpot will be hosting the conversation tonight. And yeah, no problem, man. I try to help out my friends. And it also goes to show you, and I'm realizing I should have switched my screen anyway. It also goes to show you, like everybody says that I'm like, like super bigoted towards Christians or towards people on that are more right winged than me, and I'm not. I can be extremely friendly with everybody. It's just how you come at me, and Taylor has always been super respectful with how he's come at me. So yeah, I really enjoy your channel. I enjoy your rawness, Taylor, and yeah, I have no issues. I enjoy your channel.
Hello.
Yeah, I just heard some interesting arguments. I'd like to address.
About me scaring women away.
Yeah, those are great arguments.
It's not because I'm an Aries. It's just because I don't know. They come and then they go. A lot of people don't even have them come. So I guess I'm lucky in that facet. But like they go. I can't keep them. I can't hold them.
Hey, that's been the story of my life too, Taylor.
Taylor literally has me handcuffed to this desk right now. I can only leave to go to the bathroom.
You're lucky.
So, my true name is Rudeliel Mimoka9, and I will answer all of your bullshit.
All right, bring it on.
All of your Christian critique, all of that ignorance, fucking flails before me.
All right, so you guys are hearing it, right? I'm not going to imagine it later when I had imagined I was going to be talking to one of the greats here. He's here to answer all of our bullshit, all of our ignorant critiques. And so, I'm just like, I'm super excited. I've lost a couple debates. I really get ran in circles by Khalil Allah on some philosophy at one point, but usually I can hold my own in conversation with folks. So, to really be pitted against one of the greats, he's going to refute anything that we have to throw at him, right? Maybe not so much.
Oh.
Awesome. Sweet, man.
Hey, if you don't believe in God,
do you want to know why it teaches you that you're actually shit? It's because you are.
He comes out the gate real strong, eh?
Wait,
yeah,
who's shit?
Is that how do you walk into someone's house and wipe
without
dog
morals,
shit right on the front mat?
You're basically just moralist.
Who doesn't have morals? All right, you hear that, you damn atheists? Without morals, you're basically moralless. This is the great wisdom he's starting off with here, where he's supposed to be one of the fucking greats, right from the fucking beginning. Right from the fucking beginning. It's idiocy. Fucking idiocy. All right, so without morals, you're basically moralist? Like, no, without morals, you're fucking moralist, dude. That's kind of the definition.
If you don't have a standard beyond yourself, then you're the only one that decides right and wrong.
Why do you want to be a robot?
What do you mean?
Robot. You're literally describing a robot.
He's actually a
So you have implants. So you don't accept the idea that a creator decides what's objectively wrong or right.
No, I don't. No, because you know why? Because someone was saying to me about sin and about law and all this stuff. And I'm like, you can't use the concept of law in morals because they're objectively true. They're well thought out. They're written. They're understood by the populace. All these religions, no one agrees on anything. There's no consensus. You can't say that it's a thing.
Yeah, you don't really think that God's morality or
it's superior to man.
So do you think slavery is moral?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that violence aspect. It was really interesting.
Well, it's an easy question. Do you think slavery is moral?
No, it isn't. Well,
but your God promotes and justifies and demands slavery.
Would you enslave your captive enemy?
No, I don't. I wouldn't.
Okay, well, that's what the Bible does. I've never actually.
So you think that the Bible only says that prisoners of war are the ones that become slaves? Because that's just not true.
Yeah, it's actually servants that sell themselves.
It's not true in history, and it's not true from what the Bible says.
Yeah.
To debts, etc. There's never actually any slavery. They're just servants that sell themselves into slavery to pay off debts, etc.
not when you can pass them on as your
I've literally never seen an instance where someone's forced into slavery in the Bible.
your children is property.
I mean, then you've like just never read the Bible, right? Like, for one, so I hate it when people say that. You know, like when I read books, especially like if they're good books, not the Bible. You know, don't get the clear word pictures with the Bible. I mean, just don't. But you know, if it's a good book, I'm one of the types of people that when I read a good book, I see it as imagery in my head, right? Like it's like a movie playing out in my head. But I hate it when people refer to a book and talk about like seeing shit. Like you ain't seeing nothing. You reading and believing. You didn't see nothing. But for you to sit there and say, well, I've never read anything in the Bible that would indicate that people were ever taken as slaves, then I'm just like, you have never read your fucking Bible. And shame on you, Christian. Shame on you for not reading that Bible.
That's like
it is slavery. It's slavery. So in your Bible.
Yeah, I bet you can't even name the verses or anything.
Hold on. This argument is very simple. You advocate for a God that.
It's funny. I bet you can't even name your verses or anything. Like actually, like you don't even really have to have the verses memorized because all you do is a Google search and it'll bring the fucking verses up for you. But like usually it's the Christians that don't have the Bible verse. Like I was literally just watching Skylar Fiction talk to this Matt dude about slavery in the Bible. And he's the one that didn't have the actual scripture and verse. You know, he's sending Skylar on wild fucking chases trying to find what the fuck he's talking about while Skylar Fiction is providing scripture and verse. You know, so like it's just projection that these Christians put on us because they know that they haven't actually read their fucking Bible. Like most of them haven't read the fucking Bible beginning to end, and if they have, then it's just this word garbage that comes out of their mouth in an attempt to justify or rationalize the worst parts of it.
Says that it's okay to own people. We don't think that's ever okay. So guess what? One for the atheist.
Well, you can say that it's not okay based on your moral standards, but the person next to you will think completely different.
No. You know what? Your moral standards are what
and
they
it wouldn't be wrong or right.
Countries that have blasphemy laws that kill people. Our moral standards are based on secular laws that are good for humanity, that they've taken time, they've evolved over time. It is well thought out.
Yeah, societal standards, exactly.
Well-being, when you do something that is the well-being of other people, it works a hell of a lot better than theocracy. Yeah. Theocracy is authoritarian.
Hold on.
It kills innocent people. It says that there's goddamn
So
it's funny taking a shit. Be right back. You know, like I've been meaning because you know I do like some long streams sometimes. Sometimes I'll you know it'll be 4 hours, and you know I've often thought about bringing back the be right back screen with some music or some shit, just so like when I do step away from the microphone, I'm not missing shit, right? But I haven't gotten around to actually doing it.
Wait, I think someone's taking a shit.
Someone's taking a shit.
I was licking my own ass. Got poo cough again.
Typical for people to take shits.
It is quite typical.
Yeah,
girls poo.
All right, so
can I just say it this way? I want to just say this, okay? Let's just go at this easily. Even if there is a God, I have no access to what it wants. That's it. I have no access to knowing what it wants. Simple.
Yeah, exactly. That's if there is a God. If it's Jesus or if it's you have to decide.
Yeah, and that's like a really great point, and it's a common sense point, right? And that is if you know it's basically if there is a God, there's no way possible you could possibly know what it wants, and the reason this is so is because you know the whole problem of absence. God is absent. God is not something we can measure, we can determine within reality. We pretty much have to take the believer's word for it. And that's a huge problem. So even if this thing does exist, you know, there's a very great chance. In fact, I would say the majority of a chance is that you're following it in the wrong way. There's so many different versions of the God. How do you know that this God isn't going to be offended just by the mere notion of you reading an antiquated book from 2,000 years ago, or basing your morality on something that he had planned for the ancient past? You know, like, how do you know, or even if, you know, this God is as big of a fucking douchebag as most Christians seem to believe he is, then why would they think that they would be excluded from said douchebaggery, right? Like, I don't get it. It's like they're all under this delusion that their fucking Hitler God isn't going to be putting them in the gas chambers, just everybody else. And I don't get that. And, you know, not just them, but, you know, the people they like, you know, their family members. You know, I've never been to a funeral where somebody's just like, that bastard Johnny's going to hell. You know, you just don't hear that.
What God
why would I think that?
Or not?
Why would
Women-
I think that? Hold on.
women do
Why
take
would
a
I
shit
think
like
that a
half
person?
poison.
Why would I
Women.
think that a person could rise from the dead? Why would I think that this is a thing? You want me to stop believing in science, in the normal world of everything that I know? People don't rise from the dead. They don't. And you want me to suspend?
Nope.
Wait,
all-
what? I was answering the door.
No, I mean, people rise from the dead on TV, but yeah, not in real life, yo. And it's like one of the most ridiculous things that the Bible says. Not only that Jesus came back, but, like, you know, like, there were actually dead things roaming around Jerusalem that night. And you think if that happened, I don't know, a historian might have documented that shit. I'm just saying, if the zombie apocalypse had actually happened in real life, you know, there'd be some history there to back that up, you would think. But yeah, this is just not something you see in reality.
Wait, what?
People don't rise from the dead, and human sacrifice isn't appropriate. It's not appropriate. It's
God
violent.
sacrificed his own son. That's the
And
premise
you
of the
teach
Bible, yeah.
children this. This is why it's so horrific.
Well,
This
it's
is
not
why
like
I'm
any of
pissed
it's
off
not
about
just
it.
sacrifice anyone.
It's a human
It's
sacrifice.
Human sacrifice. Though. Like, you agree Jesus was a human.
Yes, he was 100%.
Yes, and that was God's big plan.
Whether
That
you
was
think
his
he's God or
great
not, though,
plan.
it's up
In
to
your
you.
story,
Was
you're
a human.
misogynistic.
I don't think he
God-hating.
existed.
So if he's misogynistic, why is he advocating for girls to actually go to heaven and all that shit?
How do you
He
prove
doesn't
to me that he
advocate-
actually was a thing, that he existed? Advocating for girls to go to heaven. I mean, I don't know. I think that, for one, where does he actually do that? In fact, like, he demeans women throughout the entire text of the Bible. And for two, like, if women can't talk in church, are they going to be able to allow to talk in heaven? I mean, if they can't even fucking talk in church, then they're going to have to, like, go through eternity not saying shit. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think that it really talks about what kind of place women are going to have in heaven. I think, you know, especially if you're considering the time period and all, that more than likely, you know, if anything, if women do make it to heaven, they're going to be some kind of, like, second-class citizens. At all.
Yeah, that's just you can believe if he existed or not, but whether he's God is.
Well,
also
I'm just asking, how would you prove? Like, would you go to Josephus? Like, which historian are you going to use?
Historically or just in the Bible?
I'm asking you. Like, you said you could debunk all of our shit. So I'm asking.
So is he? You want to know if he actually
I
existed?
thought I was
as a
talking to
human?
one of the greats here.
Oh,
Well, I don't fucking.
no. We're no one for the great.
Well, you are, but
So I no, he ain't. No, he ain't. I'm just asking. So you want me to accept? I don't know what got. So the conversation started with morality and objective morality, and I think that if there was a thing of its objective morality and it came from your God, then we could measure that just by looking at. Let me finish. Just by looking at the God believers that believed in said God and see if their morality is all matched, but they don't. You all have different moralities, just like we do, because you pick it up in the same way. Morality comes from your brain. It's a learned experience.
Yeah.
The difference is, even if we do disagree, it still originates from one source. Why do you there is no. Okay, go ahead.
Why do you
go ahead?
Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Well, it can't be from one source. It has to be from each individual person agreeing societally.
Yes, because do you realize how long people have been around?
Yeah, but that's
so, if it was from one source, then there wouldn't really be anything like culture, right? Like, there wouldn't be much difference, so if we were all made in the image of God, and there's one source of morality, right, that comes from this omni fucked up being in the sky, everybody's favorite sky daddy, then there'd be a little more consistency throughout the world. Secular humanism to me is a much better worldview to base modern legality off of, in my opinion. Secular humanism, speaking about the equality of all human beings, seeing the merit in the human beings as opposed to our biases and fears. But morality is an individual thing. Morality is a combination of things, but it's essentially something that's learned in our brains. And as human beings, we can only trust our brains. And unfortunately, there are bad results in that sometimes. Sometimes our brains get haywired, and you can't trust your brain. But pretty much our brains is all we have to trust here. And, I learned not to touch the hot stove fairly young. I'll hear a lot of people on both sides argue that somehow modern laws are expressions of morality, and whether we're going to get into definitions or not, I haven't really looked into it, but it seems to me if that's the truth, then like everything else, laws can show a wrong morality. The best example would be when slavery was legal. But even here in the modern era, there's definitely some laws that I find to just be outright immoral, like a lot of our drug laws that lock up our citizens based on adult decisions that they make that don't affect anybody else. But we make these laws. We have this democratic process to make these laws. But to me, that differentiates from what I am as a man, what I am when I think of right or wrong. That's been a process, and that's been a learning process. And the person that I was 20 years ago, and the way that I thought about right and wrong 20 years ago is far different than how I think about such things now at the age of 45. And I could only imagine if I'm lucky enough to see another 20 years. Well, in 20 years, I'm going to have a pretty different fucking outlook on everything as well. I always wanted to be like one of those old perverted type of old dudes, right? Like sit on the bench and do the cat calling. But, society is thankfully moving away from such things. But, that was always my dream as a youngin', is to be one of them old fucking crockety old dudes that ain't afraid to make people uncomfortable. But, thankfully societies move on. Thankfully, societies advance. What was yesterday's norm, it might be quite abnormal tomorrow. You just never know. And it is our abilities to decipher these things that I think makes us what we are, which is supposedly sophisticated, sentient. But if morality were to be based off of this one being, well, based upon the descriptors I've been giving of this being, I would have to reject said morality, because that morality to me would be immoral. If we started living life like the Bible dictated us to live life like, it'd be a pretty fucking atrocious world. I think the closest we could come to even imagining it would be some of these theocracies in these Muslim nations. You don't want your archaic religions ruling your societies, or you're going to have extensive human rights abuses.
So flawed because even
This is what I
societies
laugh about.
disagree.
Hold on. This is what I laugh about Christians. They always say, "Oh, the world's getting worse." Blah blah blah. No, we're getting better. Slavery
But it's
isn't
still bad
allowed
though. It's still
anymore.
very, very bad.
No, we are getting better. Except for these Christian nationalists are trying to put us back in time. Christian nationalists are trying to put us back in time.
So how are they doing that?
Well, first of
Well, I mean, so like when you talk to dumb, you just it gets hard sometimes. Like the very essence of conservatism is to conserve the past, to conserve past traditions, to prop up the past as something, I don't know, of this golden era type mentality. And it's like one of the main issues that we have with it is it seems like this past seems to be, I don't know, like 1940s America where white men were prosperous and ruled everything. Women were in the kitchens making those sandwiches, and children were afraid to come out of their rooms because they don't know, they might catch a black eye or something. You know, the good old days. Y'all remember the good old days, right? You know, when black people had their freedom, but they also knew their place, right? Like the good old days. And it's all dog whistles for this mentality of wanting white people to rule America because they go by that stupid fucking conspiracy theory. I can't remember the title of it, but it's essentially, you know, the browning of America, and white folk sooner or later is bound to be the slaves. You know, it's fucking stupid, and it's based in fear. So they want to hold and they want to conserve the past. It's what fucking conservatism is.
So let's start with the abortion bullshit. You are going to kill women. This insane, inhumane bullshit is fascism. This is an invasion of privacy. I don't give a shit. This isn't a debate about abortion. I don't care. You don't think it's bad, but I'm telling you what they're going to do to people. When you can force women to do that, you can force other people to lose their human rights.
I assume you're against abortion, right?
Of course he is.
As long as he doesn't kill her. Yeah.
He's an adult. They all think
but yet your very same God ordered his Israelites to put their swords through like actual living, breathing babies' heads. So like how do you justify those two facts about, you know, these two very inconsistent things in your God?
Yeah, I'm not exactly a Bible expert, but I'm pretty sure he ordered for their and their families' deaths.
Well, I mean, shouldn't you be kind of like some kind of a fucking Bible expert, and at least like an amateur Bible expert if you're going to devote your entire fucking life to it? Like if you're going to base your entire fucking morality off of it, shouldn't you at least fucking know it? Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And yet the first fucking question we get asked by almost every single one of these fucktards is, "Oh, have you read the Bible?" Yeah, motherfucker, have you?
It's because they would go against the true Israelites who were taking back their land.
Listen.
So much for free will.
Etc.
It's very simple. Listen, don't get it complicated. The Passover. He killed firstborn children. He's a documented child killer. End of story.
Yeah, he's also flooded the entire world. Yes.
Yeah, right.
And I think you fail to comprehend why he does that. Why humans are evil.
You promote violence, and it's okay, and it's not okay. But genocide isn't okay.
So should humans?
Hey, listen. Genocide is not okay. Okay.
And should humans be able to do whatever they want? So you don't have to talk over.
Yeah, it's not okay, and it's not okay even against the people you don't like. Like, see, I would never advocate for the complete fucking genocide of, I don't know, all repubs or the complete genocide of all Christians. I would never partake in a stake burning of a Christian, right? Like, just not going to do that. Not for me. Don't like the smell. But unfortunately, I don't know. It seems like this mob mentality affects the other side like that. Like, not all Christians are bad people, but I think, once you get them into the crowd, you start to see a little bit, just a little more and more, a little more agreement where they wouldn't have agreed before. And it's just, ugh. It's like the best descriptor for it is ugh.
I'm just asking the question.
Genocide is wrong.
How do you know what humans were doing back then?
Humans be able to do anything that they want without punishment?
Violence. This is why Christians.
Do you realize people get away with murder?
Harmful. Your religion is objectively harmful when people take it seriously. People,
it's about loving that neighbor.
Just a second though.
Oh my God.
So what do you? How do you know how people were behaving? Pre-flood. How do you know how they were behaving?
Pre-blood?
Pre-flood.
Pre-deluge.
Well, it literally describes that they would do every wicked act.
So the Bible
So
is
do
the
you know what a
only
wicked
way
act is?
you know why God would flood the world. But did he not? I mean, men were shitty was part of it, but wasn't the main reason his angels were having sex with human women and they were having Nephilim and he wanted to get rid of them, and he actually failed. He actually failed because the Nephilim weren't all killed off.
That's true. 6. Well, it's not that he failed; they probably just did it again. Didn't even matter, but he gave him a different chance.
Well, I mean, that's still a failure, right? Because in his great omniscience, God couldn't see that, his angels was still going to be horny for those hot, big-bootied earth fucking women. What the fuck you talking about, dude? That's still a failure. If his intention was to get rid of them, well, fucking failure. If his intention was man was so evil that they could not be saved, and then at the last minute, changed his fucking mind. I don't know what the fuck was I thinking. I'll just kill everybody but Moses, right? And that's supposed to be the solution. The blood of Adam. And it didn't work. We're still flawed. We're still sinners. We still needed Jesus. But I'm going to get to that argument.
Hey, buddy. Do you think God is perfect?
If he says he is, yes.
Okay, would you think he's perfect?
Yes.
Okay, well, the Bible says that he had a regret. It says right in there, but he regrets making man. Okay, you cannot have a regret when you know the future. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. That's why your God does not exist. That just right there. It's impossible.
It's the most infuriating thing about living in the modern world and being an atheist. Somehow, some way, just because the reality of this world has just always been fucked. Somehow, some way, we, the ones that don't believe in the things we can't see, are like the outliers. We're often considered the crazy ones. And yet these people who profess to believe in this thing refuse to learn everything about this thing. And it seems like they don't do much reflection on the thing that they place all of their stock in, all of their hope, all of their belief, all of their faith. They don't really think it through. And the ones that do think it through, well, oftentimes they're the most scariest of all because, we keep saying it, and I've seen it in the side chat tonight. It's the mental gymnastics that you have to get there is remarkable. And it's you're so intelligent and yet you're so very, very fucking stupid. And I know we're not supposed to say those things, but that's the truth of it. That's what I imagine. You're supposed to be far smarter than me, but you're going to look at me with that fucking crook eye just because I don't believe in the thing I can't see, I can't feel, I can't touch, I can't experience in reality.
Possible.
He wasn't saying he was saying that he regrets that man disobeyed him, not that he was the one that did wrong.
No, it says he regrets making man.
Yeah, he regrets he didn't do anything wrong. Humans did. That's the entire point.
You're breaking my brain.
Probably going over your head.
He saw it was going to happen.
He knew it was. He just gave him a chance.
How can you regret something that you know is going to happen?
Exactly. Because he wanted them to know that they would do that so they wouldn't have an excuse.
Then he wouldn't regret it.
But he allowed them to do it
That's
so
right.
they wouldn't have that
So
excuse.
he can't regret it. It was his choice.
But he wasn't the one that did wrong, though. It was the
It
human
doesn't matter.
back end.
You can't regret something that you make happen, that you know how the outcome is going to happen. You can't. You can't regret it.
All right, look at it this way, right?
Right.
So God, you made the claim
that.
that God is perfect. You made that claim here tonight, right? You claim that God is perfect. And the argument is very simple, right? If God is perfect, then why did he fail in the Garden of Eden? Wait a minute. Hear out my argument. Why did he fail in the Garden of Eden? Why did he fail to the point where he had to wipe out the entire planet? He failed at that. He saved one family thinking this one family was going to like make it all right. And he didn't. And so he had to send his son to be sacrificed. He failed at that because eventually everything's going to end with the Antichrist, right? And then Jesus returns. Why, if your God is so perfect, like the claim you made, does the book that you rely on portray him as anything but?
So you mentioned the Garden of Eden. Yeah, that wasn't his fault. He completely warned them against it.
You made the claim he's perfect, which means that... You know, what does that remind me of? I don't know, like every Trumper I've ever talked to. It's like, you know, we that live in rational reality have looked at what's went on for the last, I don't know, 5 years now. And we're just like, how do they not, like, we understand that they believe the fucked up shit that they believe, but how do they believe everything Donald Trump says? And how is nothing that Donald Trump does ever Donald Trump's fault? But then you have the example of it. You have where that comes from right there. Because they've done it with their God their entire fucking lives. Nothing God does is God responsible for. Because God knows best and we're just fucked up little human beings. But unfortunately, it's those fucked up little human beings that are determining like the thoughts of this God. It's all fucked up, and yet we the godless, we're the outliers. It's fucking aggravating. His plan would be perfect.
Okay, now
why take away the fault from the guy that's responsible for everything?
Yeah, so another instance where it's not God's fault, the Garden of Eden, he literally warned them against it, is he didn't fail.
You know, I just kind of dig that. Just, you know, excuse me, cough right into my my microphone because my bowl is killing me. But I kind of dig that. Just like no warning. You know, we're on a shit break. We're going to grab a beer, right in the middle of it, right mid fucking sentence. I kind of dig that. You know, everybody tries to be so fucking respectful. Fuck that. We'll be right back. You know, I dig that shit. So let's get. Not very long. Just grabbing a beer. At least not very long in the scope of the stream. Longer than I remember.
More like,
If any cop
if
ever
he
did
took them
that,
up to fail, why did they willingly choose to eat the fruit and not
they
care
were
about the repercussions?
They didn't know right from wrong.
Well, they actually
why did God? Well, why did God lie to them?
Were warned.
Why did God lie to them? Why did God lie to them about the results of eating?
Yeah, that's not actually. They actually did die. They just didn't die instantly. He never said they'd die instantly.
They didn't die. Like, this is supposed to be one of the best of all time, y'all. He was going to debunk all of our shit, and he can't even get his apologetics right. So the correct answer right there is, well, you know, they did die, but they died a spiritual death. Not like, well, they would die eventually. Like, holy shit, that's not, like, that's like the worst justification for this ever that I've ever fucking heard. Because, you know, like, we as human beings in the modern world actually live longer than we ever have before. But, you know, according to the Bible back then, nah. You know, while we get to live 70 years, Adam would go on and get to live for like 950 fucking years. So what kind of fucking punishment is that? Like, he dies eventually 950 fucking years later? Like, that's not a good argument, bro. Like, the whole spiritual death argument is pretty fucking stupid, because if God meant spiritual death, he would have said spiritual death. Obviously, God knows everything, so he knew he wasn't including that key word, spiritual, in death. He just told them they would surely fucking die. Don't eat that fruit, surely you will die. Does not mean don't eat that fruit, surely you're going to die in your spirit. I mean, two different fucking things, yo. But still, much better argument than, oh yeah, he died 950 fucking years later. I mean, Adam lived to like 955 years. I mean, that's cray.
Yeah, listen to yourself. He lived 900 years. He died.
Listen, the whole creation story besides. Anyways, it's bat nuts crazy. Like, it's
you don't have to believe it.
It says,
if it's what occurred, then you're the dumb one. I don't know.
What? I'm sorry?
Well, if it's what occurred, then you're the idiot. Because you're trying to argue against saying that it's illogical or whatever the fuck you said. I don't even... Like, you don't have to believe it, yeah, but it's not. It's not like God wanted that to happen.
I feel like.
Hold on. Do you think that God wanted that to happen?
First of all, I don't think God exists. Okay, but if it does,
yeah, but
well,
just
of course he wanted it to happen. His plan is perfect and infallible, right? You made the claim that God is perfect.
Yeah, this is like.
It's like they've never taken the time to consider the things they believe about this thing and just how fucking impossible it is.
This is like, can you?
Yeah, humans aren't.
All be better deities than this God. Like, I could think of 1,000 different planets that would function way better than all this shit. This God, okay, tell me, why?
Yeah, you're right.
Why would God create its own enemy?
He didn't create his own enemy. The enemy created himself against God.
He knew before he even made him.
Yeah.
the enemy created himself against God. Like, what does that even fucking mean, dude? Oh, God. Like, Christians believe in some silly shit. They just believe in some silly shit.
What
he did.
What his choices were going to be. He knew exactly.
All right. Well, all right. Let me put it this way. All right. So God is perfect. God is infallible. How does God's greatest creation, Satan, the morning star, how who would actually have existed within the presence of God, within the actual being of God, how does said creature in that presence see evil to the point that he needs to revolt against it and is able to convert a third of the heavenly host also in the actual presence of God to actually believe this being is evil enough to revolt?
Well, he actually rebelled out of jealousy, and it actually says that he deceived, not converted.
Silly this
the one
I don't think you out of jealousy, like, it's in the presence of God. And it's what, jealous? Christians believe silly shit, y'all. They just believe really, really silly shit. And they believe it even like when their own text like goes against it, right? Like, they all have this notion of Satan, right? Like, yeah, sure, Satan tempted Jesus in the wilderness, but how do you know God didn't send him to do that? Because, like, really the only descriptor that you have is God sending Satan to do something exactly like that. It's called Job. You understand what perfect is?
Yeah.
So yeah, not everyone agrees with God. If you hate him, you hate him, but that doesn't mean that he isn't perfect.
The problem with
that you're imperfect.
The ultimate problem with Christianity is its inconsistency, right? So you give a description of your God. You make a claim about your God that you just can't even back up in Scripture. I need to ask you just a question to kind of gauge your scriptural knowledge.
Over me every time I try to finish a sentence.
I usually keep myself muted, but you talk a lot, and I want to get a question in here.
If you can play the video,
does the Garden of Eden still exist?
Talk over me.
Does the Garden of Eden still exist?
So yeah, he rebelled against God, but that doesn't make God imperfect. That makes Satan imperfect. How would that make God imperfect? Because someone disagreed with him.
Because he makes mistakes.
And that's not a mistake. Lucifer rebelled out of jealousy. Do you know what that means? That means that God didn't necessarily do anything wrong to provoke them.
God created evil.
Yeah.
Yes. He allowed it. By creating good, he created evil. That doesn't mean that they all...
Oh, yeah. Have a good night, Pat. All right, so... good question. He created evil, though. But, like... just in the face of it, like you would think that you would sit there and reconsider, right? I think the only real answer to the problem here, to the issue here of the Morning Star supposedly revolting against God, I think biblically you can make an argument against that, is that it was God's plan. God, when he created the Morning Star, understood, put it in the Morning Star's nature to reject him personally. If that is indeed the case. Like, that's only the real rational conclusion that I think that you can make here. Not, oh, he did it because of jealousy. Well, even if that's true, God would have put that jealousy there, right? That's the problem with having this definition of this triple omni God that you have, is that nothing can possibly fit that, especially once you put the canon there. If you utilize the canon, nothing can fit that description. The only thing that could fit that description would be a being, an entity, a universal mind, well beyond your comprehension, well beyond your perception, and there would be no way in fucking reality that you could ever interpret its intentions.
Completely became evil. They were all good.
Hold on. Okay, just take a breath for a second, okay? Like, you don't believe in Islam, right?
Yes, that's bullshit. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about Islam for a second here. Okay, forget
Well,
about.
it's the same God, but okay.
Okay, let's just
You can state that, but
hey, let's watch
call
hand
it
in
God.
hand here. Okay, let's
it's
walk.
about the only common thing. They just call it God.
Okay, can we just walk hand in hand here for a second? This is how we get to. This is how I cut through the bullshit. Okay, we have to agree on certain things. So let's take this baby steps together, please. Okay, we both agree that Islam is bullshit, right?
But do you know? Have you actually sat down and read the discrepancies and flaws?
About Islam. I know enough about Islam.
You can call any religion bullshit, but if you don't actually know what it teaches, it's kind of redundant.
You haven't read the Quran. You haven't read the Hadith. Don't pretend that you have.
You're saying I haven't?
Listen.
Yeah, you haven't.
I've read some of it, not all of it.
I've read the Quran. I've read some of the Hadiths. It's really hard reading. All right, so, of course, there's no way possible I can know what this man has and has not read. But I can take an educated guess here and say that 98% of Christians that say they have read the Quran have never even looked at it. They might have seen some quotes on the internet, but they've probably never even seen a real life copy of the fucking Quran. Because you know what? Christians lie. They're human beings. And they lie, and they lie, and they lie some more. So if a Christian tells me they've read the Quran, it doesn't have to be a perfect recollection, but just tell me something about it. Tell me some differences in the stories, because there's some differences there. Are you going to acknowledge that it's Abrahamics, that it's actually speaking of the God of Abraham? It's been 20 years since I read the Quran. I read the Quran when I was coming out of fucking Christianity and I was hunting other religions. I read the Quran because I actually knew Muslims who gave me a copy of the Quran that I could actually read. That was not in a language that I could not read. So I just don't believe hardly any Christian. Like you got to prove it to me, bro. and like I said, it doesn't have to be you don't have to have a perfect recounting of it. Just give me some hints that I can believe you've actually read the Quran. You just haven't. I mean, don't pretend like you have.
Well, I haven't read it in its original language.
Cool.
Of course, there's translated versions.
You might want to read your own Bible much a little bit more.
Why do you think?
Well, I mean, evolution's fake, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh my God, you think evolution's fake?
Abiogenesis.
I don't claim to be the most sophisticated of arguers here on the internets. But I could have probably come up with something a little better than getting crushed and then just, I don't know, throwing a little 2-year-old tantrum out there. Evolution's fake. You got me, bro. You got me.
Non-living matter coming from creating organic life. Come on now, that's impossible. It's not even. It can't be demonstrated. It will with the most advanced technology. It won't be demonstrated.
I'm not having a science discussion. This is stupid. We're in 2022. Science is real. It works. You're talking on a fucking internet. Fucking
Science is real.
No,
is abiogenesis real? That's the question.
Tired of fucking Christian hypocrisy. You're a fucking hypocrite. You're a
yes,
fucking
I am. Anyway.
All right, and you know, all of this is just like a precursor. 2 hours, yo, 2 hours. You got Jimmy Lew, our old friend, the preacher. Like people say that I get arrogant, and I don't really think I get arrogant. At least not anymore. I think I got like a pretty shitty self-image of myself right now. You know, I can't seem to lose the weight I want to lose. You know, I got a pretty shitty self-image of me, but of myself. But you know, people say I'm an arrogant son of a bitch. But I have never met somebody as arrogant as the preacher, ever. Like, I'm half considering of actually going forward because preacher comes into this. And like I said, preacher's so bad that you know, I got comfortable with Will fucking Kincaid again, which was, you know, not the right thing to do. So maybe we might get into a little bit of that.
Anyway,
so you're on a
let it all out. Let it all out.
You're denouncing science.
I'm denouncing. Yeah, abiogenesis is not science.
Are you a literalist in your entire interpretation of the Bible? I mean, what parts of the Bible do you take literally? Do you understand the nuance? Do you understand genre? Do you understand allegory?
He doesn't. He only knows black and white. He's
the Bible does involve metaphors, etc.
I didn't say metaphor. Allegory is a very specific thing that Jesus uses a lot. Genre is referencing the fact that the book is written by many different writers. How long do we got with this dude? We've had our fun with this guy. Let's see. Let's watch a little bit of The Preacher. When does The Preacher come in? I actually hung out for a while. It was late for me, so man, we still got like way more with that guy. I don't remember that being so long. We might do a part 2 on that guy, but we'll bring in the preacher since it's the preacher's night. There he goes. That's when he comes in. All right, so preacher comes in, and yeah, you're gonna get a whole lot of arrogance real quick. Now, you cannot forget on you know, my channel. My channel, I think, is the first really glimpses that I got anyway of the cult-like shit that's going on here with Perry. But Perry is the type of person that thinks he's perfect. And he thinks he's perfect because God has made him perfect. Even though he does imperfect shit, the preacher is perfect. Y'all remember the preacher. If The Rock is younger than what you think the parent element was,
you motherfucker, man.
Look, I knew if I called you a fag on your channel, you'd show up in my life.
Oh my god.
But I'm not though, and even if I was, it wouldn't. I do it. The only reason I'm on your live is because my kids are like, go. They're like,
the only reason you're live, someone over and posted in the comments you were gay.
You.
Yeah, so Taylor went to the preacher and said, you know, called him gay, and preacher didn't like that.
Yeah, you said I'm a homo.
I knew it.
So nice of you.
You know, honestly, like this is the point of the stream. I'm like, don't lose my lefty shit. You know, not my channel. And I didn't. You know, that was my whole goal for the night. Just don't lose my lefty shit.
Yeah.
I left a little cookie crumb trail on my channel.
Coming from teacup tits. Listen, coming from teacup tits, it's really not that far of a fucking, you know.
I called you teacup tits. Oh my god.
I told you we'd show up.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tyler, I'm here.
Call him a fag and don't show up.
Whatever.
Nice.
So what's the subject for today?
Oh goodness, great
Oh.
question.
Everything's on the
What's
table.
subject for today? Hey, look, Rage is here.
I've already
Run this
debunked
time.
them. So
Oh yeah, what up, man?
Hey, Rage, why you got me blocked on your channel, homie? Well, I'm not allowed to talk in your comments.
I'd have to go check. I don't know.
Why I'm not allowed to talk in your
did you-
comments?
Did you? And and this is gonna start this whole thing like for I don't know a couple hours. He's gonna talk about how I have him blocked, how I blocked him, but I don't even remember. Like I never blocked him. I just said that I wasn't gonna have him on the channel anymore. Mainly for the cult shit, but it would be also shit like that. Like he claims that he doesn't have an issue with gay people, as far as I can remember, but he clearly does have an issue with gay people. But I don't think I ever blocked him. In fact, I remember like immediately after him coming in the side chat talking shit about how I'm not talking to him anymore. Even though I did say like I'd come on his channel if I ever felt the need to talk to him again. It was supposed to like I was gonna. First time it was even really brought up to me to talk to him again, I agreed to it. It's just my power went out that night and I couldn't make it. So now he seems to think that I'm lying about that and that I ran away from him because I'm scared of him. Even though I've had 2 streams with him on the channel for hours. I did the first stream was me and him, and then I started like bringing other people in, like usually like one at a time to like confront them, and like that's like the only time I've ever seen Jill actually crush somebody was the preacher here. And then the second time with Oz from the Tane channel came on, and we both talked to Perry for quite a while. And that was the episode that like eventually I had to just end it because I've gotten drunk on stream plenty of times, but I wasn't drunk on that stream, and he was, and it was. I felt like I was taking advantage of him by the end of it because he was just so out of it. And I say drunk, but I don't know what he was on. But I know he was drinking and possibly on some other shit. Did you piss off my mom?
What? No, it was you. You're.
Oh no, Gur. I'm literally. I don't share it, but I bring it up, and I'm going through everybody that's blocked on the channel. The preacher was not blocked on the channel.
You're the one that fucking blocked me. I've still got it recorded. Why'd you block?
I'm blocked.
Why'd you block me?
I am blocked, and he don't have shit recorded. He's got like probably where I said that I just wouldn't have him on my channel anymore, but I don't think I ever blocked him. People like every month or so. So
why'd you block me from
How
come you talk to fake believers, but you won't talk to the real one?
Are you a believer?
I think you have a cult.
I'm serious behavior. I'm really dead serious about this. How can you exhibit
cult-like behavior? But I don't think you're blocked.
Are you a fucking homo? You afraid of me? You don't want to cuddle me?
What?
You want to cuddle me, motherfucker?
Are you want to cuddle with me? Are you being a bigot right now?
You don't want to cuddle with me?
So if I like to suck dick, does that matter?
Well, even if you did, how come you don't suck mine, motherfucker?
Oh my god, this is so awkward.
Probably not big enough.
Oh, or maybe I just choked you to death.
Maybe.
I'm trying to let me concentrate. I'm trying to see if you're blocked.
Oh no, yeah, you've had me blocked for a long time, and you're a douchebag for not showing up last time.
Dude, my power went out.
You're so full of shit. I checked the fucking Michigan registry for power outages.
You did.
My fucking power was out.
You're a fucking coward, dude.
Which I don't even know if that's a thing, but I mean my power was out. It actually happens quite a bit here. I live in an area here in Battle Creek called the Fort, and all of the factories are here. And one of them is a factory I used to work for. It's called Denso. And they work you to death. You make a lot of fucking money, but they work you to death. When I worked there, I was doing 12-hour shifts 7 days a week. And people get tired, man. And what often happens, I don't know why, but it's usually a fucking motorcycle. I don't think it was a motorcycle that day just because it had already started to get chilly, although people still ride their motorcycles But it was probably a car. But somebody's always running into a fucking pole. It happens 2, 3, 4 times a year. It's like somebody falls asleep at the fucking wheel and they run into a fucking pole. That night, my power went out around 9 o'clock. The stream was going to start 11:30, I think. I immediately got a hold of James, or of Taylor James. I don't know why I call him James sometimes, but Taylor. I immediately got a hold of him via email. I immediately got a hold of the preacher via email. Said, hey, look, here's the situation. Hopefully the fucking power will come back on. I stayed up till like 2 a.m. waiting for the power to come on. It woke me up around 3 a.m. when everything came on. So I don't really give a fuck what you think you saw on the internet, what you fucking looked up. I only know my reality, right? And I know that night my power went out. I don't schedule shit and just not show up for no reason. And then when I couldn't show up, I went about it the right way. I immediately let everybody fucking know. That's all you can do in that situation. You know, maybe I could have figured out how to work it on my phone, but like I wouldn't have been there for 5 hours. I probably still wouldn't be. I probably would be out of there at that point. At this point in this conversation, if I was on my fucking phone, you know, like there's just I was using my phone for everything to get a hold of these motherfuckers. I don't think I had much charge. Like I just wasn't gonna last very long if I figured out how to do it on my phone, which I've never done. I've never went into a StreamYard on my phone. I've never done any of that shit on my phone. Never had a YouTube stream. I understand that there's a way to do these things. I've just never tried to do them. So, excuse me. Nobody was running away from one of the dumbest YouTubers on the internet. Nobody runs away from you, preacher. We can only deal with you so much, right? Like there's only so much of the preacher I can fucking digest, and like I don't know, we'll give it like a 3-month span of time, right? Like because you're very wearing on everybody. But I hadn't spoken to you in several months, 6 months at least. I was actually ready for it. You know, when two fucking personalities such as ours collide, it always makes for good content. So like I have no reason to run away from you, seeing as that's the very thing I do on my channel. Is I go into rooms, I have these conversations, and then I show it on my fucking channel. It's what my channel is. It doesn't make any sense. Why would I run away?
You're a chicken shit.
I've talked to you.
Atheist, dude. You're
I've talked to you. So I'm a fake
You're
atheist now, right?
atheist.
Let me check my shit. I can't concentrate. Just a second.
Will's back. Welcome back, Will.
I'm back. Yeah,
I don't like the news. Will, where do I find where my people are fucking blocked?
No. Gotta look.
You've got to go in your fucking. You got to go in the fucking YouTube studio.
Yeah, it happens every time I look for this shit nowadays. Because like YouTube has changed their studio so much, I can never find where people are fucking banned. I always forget because now you have to go to the settings in your studio. It always used to be like a community tab right there. You could fucking see it easy, but now you gotta like go hunting for it, and I can never fucking find it.
And then you gotta go into settings.
Community.
So you guys are gonna actually see a little bit of the things that you don't see, like the first interaction from earlier in the night when Will came in. But you're gonna see like just like maybe how I could just get so comfortable, like I was describing. But then again, maybe not. Maybe I was just you know, like I said, I haven't raged out once this entire night. I was able to sit through, you know, the derogatory F slurs and all of that without losing my lefty shit. You know, maybe I'm just in one of those really rare moods this evening, and I really don't know when they're gonna happen. That I'm just not raged that night. So like it's almost like just Will and Smokey caught the perfect night to surprise me, because I was just not very ragey.
Settings. Settings. Yeah.
Community
So,
settings.
I told Pukov, look,
All right.
I told Pukov in the back,
You
I
got
said,
me
hey,
blocked,
if
man.
I go to the preacher channel and call him a fag, he'll
Shut
come on my
the fuck
live.
up, Tyler. I'm never gonna call you Tyler again. I am forever calling you Tyler. Fucking Tyler.
My mods be blocking people all the time.
He's all
Damn, I
excited.
just
He's like, I
unblocked people.
called him a
There's a
homo
shit
and he
ton.
showed up.
You're like the Pied Piper, Tim.
No, it's
Yeah, and that's how it's always been. And about once a month, I will go through and I will unblock. Now, there are some people that I just don't unblock. Like, there's racist ones that I don't unblock. Like, the names are just purely racist or they have slurs in them. There's a few people that I don't unblock because I don't talk to them anymore. They probably are never in my side chat, but I keep them blocked for the point of it. You know what I'm saying? Aaliyah Kai, I think she's fucking still blocked. There's still like most of the Callan's raging owners, they stay blocked, but like usually about once a month, every once in a while I'll make a comment to like the mods, expressing my wishes, but mods are going to be mods, right? Like they are their own people. I don't really like to sit here and police the mods and be like, oh, you're fucked up because you didn't do it exactly like I want you to. No, I will just every once a month I'll go through and I'll delete them because they do start to fucking add up. And, for a YouTuber, you want people in the side chats. You want those live viewers. You want people in the side chats. You want people arguing. So it's just something that I've always done since I started streaming. Since I started having mods that blocked people, I would go through every once in a while. Like, that's how you take care of that problem, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and police mods. I'll just go through and unblock people. And, fuck, I unblocked Jill, and he's like the worst of the worst. He's like a fucking white supremacist.
Funny, dude.
That's some Wilkie Cake level shit right there. I've definitely done something like that before.
I found it funny too, dude. I found
straight
it
up no pad.
And I'm like, how do I respond to
this?
Hey,
I don't think I've got bully mods. I think, my mods have been with me for a while. I try to give them a little bit of leeway, like, fuck. Secular Pagan Mom she's fucking awesome. And I think that's the one that, like, most people complain about, but Secular Pagan Mom is fucking awesome. I like to give she's like the den mother. I like to give her some leeway. The last time it happened, I think it was Sandy was getting upset with me, and I wasn't trying to come down. I didn't even see who blocked the messenger reveals. I just don't like I don't like people getting timed out too much, so I wasn't trying to come down on anybody. I never try to come down. I never try to police my mods. I don't think I got bully mods. I think mods are people. If you give them a wrench, they're going to utilize it. I just ask that they try to refrain themselves a bit.
Preacher, you're not. All my kids
you're
out.
Not blocked.
Yeah, bullshit. You fucking lie.
You're not blocked.
You're a lie. Oh, did you just now unblock me?
No, I haven't X'd out anybody. There's a lot of motherfuckers blocked.
Look at Pukov.
It's probably because you're really fucking annoying, Preach.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, Will. I'm annoying.
All right. So, Preacher, and I think I need to go look, because I think most of the people that are blocked are just people that don't get unblocked. I don't think that there's a lot of new people on there that I'll be unblocking yet, because I just did it not too long ago. Will you let me address you? Will you let me address you now?
Are you still gonna fucking pay me to listen to you talk about the Bible?
She's going to get some water, okay?
All right.
I'm going to get some water. Again,
I'm just mad because I stick to it. Why you don't like me, Will? Why you don't like me? How come you've never talked to me?
Oh, sorry, Sadie. I didn't mean. I don't know. That's what I thought I saw. But again, y'all know I don't look at my side chat. I know some people bitch. That's what they do.
Taking a shit this time.
I told you once.
I'll tell you this. There ain't no way ever that like everybody's gonna be happy. Christians are never gonna be happy. They're never gonna think that your mods are like fucking. Just letting them say whatever the fuck they want to say. Because even if you do let them say whatever the fuck they want, they want to say, they're going to pretend like you don't. There's no way, like, I could ever expect for my side chat to look exactly the way that I want it to look, right? Like, I don't really worry about such things. I really don't. Like, my only thing is, like, when it's really, really bad shit, I want to go back and read it. Like, the worst of the shit. But my rule is that shit is the shit that really needs to be timed out and fucking taken away. So, even in the best case scenario, I wouldn't get to see those comments because those are the comments that I don't want remaining in the side chat. Like the comments that use the derogatory language and shit. There is no way you can have a perfect side chat. And I don't give people wrenches because I want them to follow rules. I give them wrenches because they followed me for a long time. Sometimes I think that, like there's people that I've missed that have been with me forever that I feel like I should give a wrench. But, like if you have too many wrenches in your side chat, then people talk shit about that. If you don't have enough wrenches in your side chat, then people talk shit about that. People are going to talk shit, so it's like I just tend not to notice.
You dumb bastard! You offered me $100 to sit there and listen to you talk about the Bible.
Anybody ever offered you $100 for a Bible study, bitch? And
No,
I
I
offered you
wouldn't.
money to do a Bible study, and you ran like a fucking coward.
You
You're a
didn't run like
fucking
a
fraud.
coward. I said yes, you fucking idiot.
Okay, so then how?
Like there was like one time when I had my Discord server and we tried to have this like mod team and we had rules and shit, and that was like the worst my channel has ever been ever. Like it was awful. Like I wouldn't have wanted it to be in my side chats.
How come you haven't done it? I give you $100 right now.
You're gonna fucking set up a time and then you.
I give you $100 right now. You do the study. Come on,
Preacher,
right
don't
now.
fucking make me defend Will
Fucking
here.
work
goddamn.
having a cigarette. That's why I'm doing
Look, I
it.
think that's so funny how you guys will all come together when everybody.
Why don't you change my fucking diaper,
You guys
old
will
man?
all get along when it comes to going against
Change my diaper.
fraud.
It's always
You're
like,
fraud.
Yeah, you're a faggot. What do you
You're
want?
fraud.
Oh, now Will, you're gonna make me pissed.
Dude, I'm married with 6 kids, but even if
Yeah, so here you get a little taste. So the only part of this conversation I ever really showed you guys is just Smokey coming in the room, me being fucking surprised. But like, the entire night was an experiment of my self control because again, it's not my room, it's not my standards, it's not my rules. My entire goal for the stream was not to lose my lefty shit. So right there, you see the roller coaster, right? So we have this like perfect atmosphere. I'm not like very ragey. Perry comes in, and Perry is the preacher, and the preacher is just the fucking preacher. So, he instantly sucks the attention to him. So Will Kincaid could come in, and in one breath, I'm like, fuck, don't make me defend Will Kincaid. But in the very next breath, because Will Kincaid is getting all Will Kincaid-y, I'm like, fuck, you're going to piss me off, Will Kincaid. But ultimately, having Perry in this room is how I just was able to kind of slip back into that old place, because there was this time a long time ago where me and Will, every once in a while, we would work together like that against that, a common foe. It didn't happen often, but it would happen sometimes. There was a period when I was really trying, to have that friendly outreach with Will Kincaid, even against the advice of everybody. John Peterson, fucking Shay, fucking Ali. Everybody was like, that dude is shit. We don't see what you see in him. But I was like, man, if he just got away from Brett Keane, he might, change. And then he got away from Brett Keane and went to Smokey.
if I was gay, I'm still saved, you bitch.
I bet Jeffrey Dahmer was too, you fucking homo.
All right, stop. All right. So, preacher.
He loved his kids so much, he kept them all out behind his fucking garage.
Yeah, I really didn't mean to piss off Sandy. So hopefully, Sandy, you're good. I'm often really terrible at diffusing situations. My attempt to make it better, because I happen to notice shit going on in the side chat. I do every once in a while, but I only see glimpses. Was totally fucking pissed some people off. So when I decide to finally comment it on again, like hoping to calm some feelings, I go and put my foot in my mouth again and make it worse. And I that's me in real life too.
Shut the fuck up, preach.
Well, where'd you get that information from?
Preacher, you talked a lot of shit. Preacher, you talked a lot of shit.
I talk a lot of shit. I back it all up.
I need to remind you. So in our last conversation, the first one too, you had like this cult thing going on where you had these really weird people coming on talking about how fucking great you are. Then the last conversation, dude, it was so bad. Like I had to tell you, dude. Like I get drunk on stream, but you are fucked up, and I had to end the stream, dude. It was. It was.
Never stops talking, Ray.
It was pathetic.
You want to talk about a culture?
I felt like I was taking advantage of you. I felt like I was taking advantage of you.
Can't understand you preach with all that nut in your mouth. Shut the fuck up.
Shut up, Will.
You're a bitch. Meth is bad, okay?
You're a fake. You're a fraud, fucking homo, bitch.
What the fuck are you?
Bitch.
Oh my god.
What are you gonna do?
You know, hearing rhetoric like that, so, I've always been an Eminem fan. And I remember, like, I used to, even when I became quote unquote woke, which is to say that, I became more aware of human rights and more aware of the words that I was saying, right? And really try to get some of these slurs, even though, like, I wouldn't use them as slurs, but it was the way we grew up. I saw. I was watching some sports documentary earlier, and it kind of brought it up. The fact that we would always say, "Oh, that's gay," or if you're shooting the shit with your boys, you why you being a fag, shit like that. And I was able to change myself, but hearing like Perry or Will or anybody, say it in those manners where, all right, maybe they're not referencing the specific minority group that's associated with the slur, but hearing it brought up, it really lets you know that society just still has so far to go, because a lot of these things are just ingrained in us. What we make taboo, we associate everything bad with. So Preacher can sit here and call Will this slur, and Will can sit there and call Preacher that slur, and they think that it's like a diss, it's like an insult, when it's not. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you are. The only thing that's wrong is that we ingrain in our society to dehumanize people, and it really brings it out. And it brings it out like just how utterly I was wrong for even defending Eminem, because I understand his politics are left, and he doesn't have that hatred in his heart, but still promotes the usage of the word that demonizes a people. And I can't expect everybody to be as self-policing as I am, or aware of the issues as I am. But it does goes to show just how fucking far we have to go as a society still to this very day. And I find that fucking utterly sad.
You
guys are going to make me go all lefty.
It doesn't back you up.
I'm going to have to go all lefty and like fucking cancel culture shit.
Well, hey, man, I know they wanted me up here for this, so let's do it. So let's see who scripture backs up.
What the fuck are you on? Chill the fuck out. Like, I've been drinking coffee too, but like, just stop smoking meth for a minute and let's have a fucking conversation.
Yeah, I wondered who stole my fucking meth. That's who it was. Preach being the fucking meth.
Years.
All right, calm down.
I literally.
How come you got me blocked, Rage? How come you didn't show up last time? Hey, was that all?
Dude, my fucking power went out, dude. My power went out, man.
You guys gave me a new outlet. Thank you.
It came on at like 3:30 that morning. It woke me up because everything fucking came on. Like, dude, my power. I'm gonna have to look it up. Like, is there like some national registry where you can check and see if somebody's fucking power is out? And even if there is, like, why would you trust it? Like, I just don't know. Like, if somebody tells you that their power is out, I just don't understand why you would call them a liar over something. Like, dude, my power went out. Like, like if I didn't want to just show for the fucking stream, I would have been like, dude, I'm tired. I'm not gonna show tonight. Let's reschedule for an earlier time, because that would have been like my only issue. But no, like the timing is not an issue. Like, I've always been able to understand that, all right, I agreed to do a show that's later on in the night. Let's take a nap today. Let's make coffee at 8 fucking p.m. Or, like way back in the day, like, X of the Utah Outcast started his show like even later than Taylor starts his, right? And while I was quiet through most of that show because it was late as fuck, I was still able to show. Like, it just doesn't like I don't care what you think you saw on the fucking internet, dude. I emailed Taylor as soon as it fucking happened. Right up until 11 o'clock start time, I was hoping it would come back on so I could fucking be there. You're not the scariest Christian in the world, preacher. You're just one of the most arrogant. There's a difference. There's nothing to be afraid of. I don't run away. I don't run away from these conversations. It's what the fuck I do.
Power outage maps, bro.
I've been here all fucking night.
You're a liar. Stop lying to me.
I got a message.
Fuck what you checked. My fucking power was out.
Can I ask though, Tyler, why'd you egg me on to come on here? Why? For what purpose?
I've been destroying these people the whole time.
It'd be funny the whole just because it was funny at the time.
All right, so like, well, Taylor called him a term. I guess Preacher was live at the time. Taylor went into a side chat, said he was gay. Perry took that as an insult and came in, but like you chose to do that, the Preacher. Like, so this is what you're going to get tonight. And it's going to be interesting to see Jimmy Lew, who's so far being rather quiet. I'm not sure if he's going to – I can't remember if he remains that way. I know he's definitely not there when Smokey comes in, so I'm not sure. It might be getting late for him. I know I get tired usually, and I get fucking quiet. So I'm not too much interaction. It's going to be interesting to see interaction between Jimmy Lew and the Preacher. Because the Preacher's arrogant and he doesn't stop talking, and Jimmy's just bursting with all of that fucking energy that Jimmy has. It's gonna be interesting. Like it's late for me, so we'll see. Like, I'm hoping to at least be able to catch the first hour live and then maybe catch the rest on the playback, because I think it's gonna be an interesting conversation this evening.
That's why I do anything, really.
Well, it was funny. I will say that. Even my kids were laughing, and I'm like, I don't even know how to fucking respond to that. Like, I wanted to, but there's nothing. I mean, what can I say? I just call them
what did he just run in and be like, you're a faggot later?
Teacup titties. Teacup titties. There it is. Teacup titties. There you go, Tyler.
He's sitting there watching Netflix or something. He's not even paying attention.
I don't watch fucking Netflix, dude.
No, not you. Fucking, he had a remote.
Aren't you the one? Aren't you the one that Rage is always having shows about? You, Mr. Will King.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Used to.
Well, I mean, Will was like the sidekick of the dude.
Oh. So Will
did some awful shit. That's what I'm saying. Don't make me fucking defend Will.
That was the thing is that I came up with the ideas that he bankrolled me for the most part. Like the Gilbert Godfrey thing.
Do you claim to be a Christian, Will? Do you claim to be a Christian?
Oh yeah, I remember this conversation. Now I understand what you're saying. Okay, yeah, sure.
Jimmy's gone, so now it's like, what's the point? Because I thought maybe we would have got something between them, but Jimmy was probably tired at that fucking stage. So we'll go earlier in the conversation. We'll go when OG was there, and then we'll watch a little bit of Wesley Curry, because I still got time. In fact, I'm gonna get this rolling on the news segment, and I'm gonna go and make sure my daughter did her 9 o'clock shot, all that stuff. See where my daughter's blood is at, so I'll be AFK for a second. But I know when Taylor first opened it up, OG comes in, and then OG leaves. Godless Girl is still in there, still at that point, I believe. And so we're gonna get a little bit of interaction between Jimmy and Godless Girl. When he first opens it up, man, it's like way back there. Way back there. Holy shit. So right around there. All right, we'll get this thing rolling, this little segment, because the ultimate goal of the show, I'm interjecting there for a little bit. I don't really, I'm a little bit with Private Wars there, but I don't really become vocal until Smokey comes in, and even then, it's the end of my night, so I'm not vocal. I'm never really Rage. Wesley's going to come in, and Wesley's weird as shit. But again, not my channel, not my rules. I do try to warn people that he's got mental illness, but, I tend not to let Wesley in just because I'm afraid of the dynamics of large rooms and the dynamics of mental illness and the stigmatization of mental illness. So, I make that choice, but I can't make that choice for everybody. And I, a lot of people don't know that about Wesley.
Message board.
All right, so we'll get this going. I'm gonna go check up on my daughter, and then I'll be right back.
Like it's format is where you're supposed to have multiple people like responding to each other about various topics, but you're the only person on there.
And real quick, before I go and check on my daughter, I see Church of Heretics is in the side chat. How you doing, my man? Jimmy Lew, everybody. He's gonna have the fun this evening. So if you're up and you're on the YouTubes at 11 Eastern time, check it out. It's I think I put the link to the stream should be in the description.
It's cute, I guess, but it's really weird. You're the only person on there, and you're responding to all your own comments. I want to come on there just because, like, it's so sad. I guess it looks sad and pitiful. I'm gonna.
And before I go, Jimmy is just about to come on, so we'll let it play. But maybe go to where Jimmy is. Right about to come on? All right, so he should be just about to come on.
Atheists will always talk about the Uri Miller experiment and be like, look, like, proteins turn into DNA or some bullshit like that. But the thing about that is, that's fucking under conditions and manipulated by people in a lab or whatever. So that it's like, that's intelligently designed. Like, it's like there's just arguing against themselves because that's like evidence for intelligent design.
Yep, I agree with you.
Yeah, my whole position on it is, I know that the Earth isn't 6,000 years old, but outside of that, I don't really know much of shit. Evolution makes more sense to me than Sky Daddy doing it all. But when it comes to abiogenesis, I have no freaking idea.
I concur. I concur exactly. I think, I'm sorry, I just jumping in. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hi.
I'm so glad
Jimmy Lew, a motherfucker among men.
Oh, I'm so glad. You know what's great about being an atheist? What I found is that I don't have to know shit. I don't know how to know shit. And that's the perfect thing. Like, if you don't want to have an ego and you don't want to be a narcissist, be an atheist. Because if you
say
can
it one more, say
it
one more time so I can smell the maple syrup on your breath.
That's right. Look at me, dumb as shit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. And that's what's beauty about it.
I love the energy.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
How do you know what you just said? Do you know what you just said is true?
It's true. For me,
you're just contradicting yourself. You're just contradicting yourself. You just said it's not knowing anything.
That's right. I'm not. You know what the great thing is? I have the perfect. I have the working man's atheist apologetic.
All right, so Jimmy just has so much fucking energy. It's just like bouncing off of the walls, man, and I love it. I'm here for that. I people used to talk about, me kind of in the same regards back when I just made my edited content. It's like I just had so much to say and it was just bursting out of me, and it really takes me back to my early days here on the YouTubes when I was finally getting to say some of the shit that I just always wanted to fucking say and just never said it. For all those years I just never said it. And it's funny because, Godless Girl, while, we should be at each other's throats. And like, I met Godless Girl over, it was like over the Steve McRae, Kyle thing back when they first split up. And I think she had taken Steve's side. And I was somewhere in the middle. I was trying not to get involved. I don't know. Somehow we got in this Twitter fucking battle, and I had a lot of people at the time, telling me about Godless Girl. I had really no idea who she was, and she ended up coming on the channel. We ended up, talking, getting to know each other a little bit, and just over the years, even though we should really like be two people that are really at odds with each other, politically we believe a lot of the same thing, a lot of the different things. You know, she definitely has her way about her. You know, we have managed over the years never to do that, and even leading up to this, when it was just, you know, me and Godless Girl were going to be there at JawnSpot, like Godless Girl was saying, yeah, no, I want an atheist that I can really go at, because I don't really go at Regime. You know, we don't go at each other like that. And somehow we've been able to manage that, which is really odd. And I don't know how we've maintained it, because I am who I am and she is who she is. And we do fundamentally disagree on just about everything, but have somehow never win at each other. Outside of that first little stint of the whole Steve McRae Kyle thing.
Get it here. I can refute anything, and it's very simple.
But I actually agree with you. If you are a weak atheist, you can just say, I don't believe you. And since you don't have the burden of proof, you don't have to provide any evidence in your favor. You just say, I don't believe you. That's all.
You don't have to believe me. That's the perfect thing. The thing is, though, I'm not going to condemn you if you don't believe me. I'm not going to condemn you. And I'm under, this is how it comes. Ready? Here it comes. It's very simple. We are under no accountability to understand how any of this works. None. When I lost my faith was when I understood that and I embraced that. When you realize that we're under no accountability to understand how any of this shit works, it's freeing. And it's true.
And it's perfectly honest and warranted to hold that position, right?
And it's honest.
Yeah.
And it's the most
honest. That's what I,
you know what?
That's what I hear by every agnostic. He says, I don't know shit about origins and I'm perfectly honest about it. And
that's right.
It's honest to have this position.
That's right. That's right. The thing is, I trust science. It explains it. I don't need to know how all of this started. That's the great thing about it. And when you hold on to your humanity and you let go of your ego and you realize how much we really don't know about shit, you start realizing trying to understand the mind of an infinite, omnipresent, omnipotent being is impossible. It's mental masturbation.
So you don't know anything and now you're making all these fucking claims.
No. My claim is this. This is the one claim, and this is all it is. And it all hangs on to this. I'm under no...
All right, spoiler alerts. Gigi has found the atheist she was looking for. She found Jimmy here. And she's, she's going to take that tone you guys are used to with Gigi. Now, Jimmy, the thing I like about Jimmy is he doesn't really let it phase him, which is, I think, you kind of have to be like that in this community. And that's why I think Jimmy's going to do well. That thick skin, man, it's necessary. And it's something that I lost along the way. So hopefully he'll keep that up because, you just can't let it get to you. And, he doesn't let it phase him. But yeah, Gigi is starting to get into it when she starts using the word sir, right? But, spoiler alert, I'm not sure how much we'll listen, but Godless Girl really isn't there for too long. Nobody's really sure why she left when she left. I'm assuming it's probably because Wesley Curry's weird, but I don't know.
Accountability, right? I'm under no
and on top of that,
you are. You just made a claim. You claimed that an omnipotent God is impossible. Now you have to give an argument for that.
No. I said to know the mind of an omnipotent God is impossible. You can't prove an unfalsifiable position.
And on top of that, you can simply say, I go with the consensus. What science says, what scientists say, it's the majority. Hey, it's 98% of biologists. They say evolution is true. Yeah. I am perfectly warranted to go with evolution since the majority of the professionals say so. Yeah. Who am I to say they are wrong? So, hey, I'll go just with the consensus.
Okay, but they can back it up. The science is different. Science is test.
See, Otangelo's actually in there longer than I remember because it turned out to be such a long stream, and Smokey came in, I don't know, 2:30, 2 o'clock, something like that. Probably around 2 o'clock, because I think we were in the room together for about an hour. And if I'm remembering, like it was after 3 o'clock when I got out of the stream and went to bed. So yeah, long stream. I remember, like, Otangelo coming in and the conversation gets up, and I like a lot of Jimmy's points, and we are going to get into that scientism thing where they're going to try to, yeah, we'll get into the scientism thing here in a minute, but like the passion and the energy, and I think he's in the side chat. Because Andy Hall being Andy Hall, I just kind of automatically assume when I'm introduced to people through Andy that they're comedians. So I think he has that comedian background, but I'm not positive. But yeah, I like the energy and the passion. It's what that, like, from the very get. As soon as he came into the room, it was energy, man, and I dug it.
Testable. Science is repeatable. Science is objectable. We're talking about.
But if the majority say something is true, it must be true, no?
Pardon?
If the majority of the scientists say X is true, it must most probably be true, right?
If it's in their field and it's been falsified, it's been tested, it's been peer reviewed, like do you understand the scientific method? Like, there's a process to it. There's falsifiability. They've got that shit, and that's the thing. I don't need to know how evolution works. I don't need to know how my car works to be able to drive it.
But you know what? You have thousands and thousands of science papers which are peer-reviewed in regards of abiogenesis, but you will not find one which will confirm and demonstrate, or even giving a model or a hypothesis how life could have come from non-life by unguided natural means.
They do that. They cover that. Have you not been to a museum? Don't worry about it. Like, this is the thing. This is the thing about God. God really isn't an answer.
In museums that show life came from non-life?
They have. You see, this is now you're asking me about specific science questions, and I don't know, and that's okay.
Oftentimes, I think I'm the only one that says I don't know when I don't know, and I'm the same way. Like, to me, everything's like possibility, and like, I'll break shit down in my brain. Like, what's more possible to me than what? Like, and I got myself in one of my first conversations with a Christian. It wasn't a live conversation. It was the second conversation with Matt Powell, where I started spitting off just like a lot of possibilities. And it ended up getting me in trouble the way that Matt Powell edited it, because the entire atheist community came down on me. And then, Matt Powell and Steven Anderson, they had their meme for a while about the Star Wars atheist. And they were talking about me and what Matt Powell, or what I had done in our second conversation. That was essentially just spot off a bunch of different possibilities. Like, you want to say that the only possibility of this universe is God, but like, it literally could have been like, this universe is the result of the death of a previous universe, or this universe could be one of a multiverse, or all of these different possibilities. Like, we could have came from a different universe through a fucking wormhole that we don't even know about yet to this universe and populated this one world in a dead universe. Maybe other universes are teeming with life and we just live in this void one. Like, all of these different possibilities, and it became this like Star Wars meme. But it's essentially like, just the point was, I don't have to understand evolution to accept that evolution is a much more plausible, logical possibility than Sky Daddy did it. And having dealt with the Matt Powells of the world, and having delved into the evolution science, while I am nowhere near a gutsick Gibbons or somebody that can argue for evolution. I have an understanding of it, and I have an understanding of some of the evidences. Like, for instance, the bee trail of the migration out of Africa and how we've been able to trace that, and you know, the fossils that I've looked at, or the information on the Grand Canyon, because Kent Hovind says a thing, you go look at the Grand Canyon and you actually learn that it was something completely opposite, you know. But you don't have to be a scientist that has devoted your life to the science of evolution to believe that evolution makes a hell of a lot more sense than God did it 6,000 years ago. You just don't. You just don't. But if you make the claim to a Christian that you believe in evolution, then they're going to expect you to at least be able to give the bullshit like they would for their young earth. And a lot of times, a lot of people will try to just give the bullshit. And sometimes you just say, no, I don't need to give you the bullshit. Give me your bullshit about why I shouldn't believe my bullshit, right? Like, you know, so because that's what they want you to do is they want you to give them opportunity to appear to be more knowledgeable about the science they fucking butcher. So yeah, a lot of times I don't know is the best possible fucking answer you can give somebody, because guess what? Neither does Otangelo. If he did, he wouldn't be Otangelo. He wouldn't be on all these fucking atheist channels, which is hilarious because he's going to try to like say that that's something that we do. No, he'd have like a Nobel fucking prize because he knows everything and he just fucking changed the face of science, you know? Like, no, he don't fucking know either. Gusset Gibbons knows a hell of a lot. You know, but she's fucking brilliant and she has dedicated her life to it.
Why did you just say walk into a museum?
But this is the point you're missing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sure. I'm having a hard time seeing your point because you're just all over the fucking place.
My single point.
Yeah, and we do have about an hour left until Preacher versus Jimmy starts. So 11 Eastern on that. And here, we'll get over to that other one because I'll just throw that link into the side chat again. Should be interesting. I love it when personalities meet. And Jimmy's full of energy and the preacher is the fucking preacher. I think we're in for a hell of a dumpster fire coming up.
My point is this. We're under no accountability to understand God, how any of this. We can simply say, I don't know. And that's
right.
it.
But let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Yes. Do you think that others are learning something by your confession of ignorance, or what is the motivation of?
Would you rather them have learned something false because Jimmy's not going to sit there and pretend to know about something that he doesn't know about?
Well, you know, the thing is, I don't make the rounds to tell everyone that I don't believe in Santa or pink unicorns or farting pixies or aliens or things like that, right? Religion. Because I think others don't care about what I don't believe.
I don't go around to channels and talk about what I don't believe. Well, actually, you know, you go around to atheist channels and you talk about how you don't believe the same things they believe. So that's kind of like the same thing, ain't it? And it's not like atheists, you know, and I'm about to make the point, but this shit drives me crazy. I don't go around talking about what I don't believe. I go around talking about what you believe is stupid. You know, there's a fucking difference. I live in a world that makes your stupid shit important. So I talk about it. But what drives me crazy most about this, and Otangelo, like, you go around more than anybody goes around. You're like an internet hoe, yo. And I say that lovingly. But what drives me craziest about this, and I'm going to make the point here, but I'm going to make it briefly, is that, you know, Christians, they can just be Christian and it's perfectly acceptable. You know, they can make their little comments in public, you know, God bless you if you do something nice or if you sneeze, which, you know, like, I get in trouble for it. But still, every once in a while, somebody says, God bless you when I see something. I'm like, nope, no demons up there. But, you know, like, they're able to be themselves without any fear of getting side-eye glances. I mean, some fundamental Christians, like if you're like a fucking street preacher in the modern time, you're gonna get a response. But generally, Christians as a whole can just be Christians and not really experience any negative ramifications for that, unless you're just like a fucking extremist. To where atheists, we really can't just be atheists. Right? Like if somebody says God bless you, well, it's rude if we say there's no demons up there. Why are you telling God to bless me? I fucking sneezed. Just make sure that I'm covering my fucking nose so I'm not spreading disease. Right? Like, but we're the assholes if we're just atheists, right? Like if we come on the internet and we're making an attempt to just be atheist publicly, well, then somehow we're doing something wrong when actually what we're doing is the same exact thing that you're doing. It's fucking idiocy, and it drives me crazy.
But atheists do that all the time. They are going from YouTube channel to YouTube channels, and they have to declare to everyone what they don't believe. As if anyone would think that this is relevant.
You know why? Okay, listen. It's very simple. Because your beliefs are traumatizing people. Your beliefs are divisive. You know what? I go on the streets of Toronto. This is an honest truth. I don't talk about this because being an atheist is dangerous to talk about my family. But my daughter right now is battling cancer.
Essentially, what OG is suggesting here is that Christians or theists or people with a belief system, whatever, they have full rights to just be themselves. But atheists, the moment you start being a goddamn atheist, it's a fucking problem. That's what you're saying, OG. To me, that's what I'm hearing.
That's not what I'm saying. You are free to be whatever you want. But as soon as you go to a YouTube stream or to Facebook or to a Facebook group or whatever, and the only thing that you are confessing is your ignorance, why do you expect that others should know about this? Or do you?
Wouldn't we be confessing your ignorance? Like, we're not the ones that believe in 2,000-year-old fairy tales, Otangelo. That's you. We just come on here and say that you believe in a 2,000-year-old fairy tale. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? But OG, OG is the OG of OGs.
Or should think that this is relevant to other people, you don't believe in.
Listen to me. You didn't listen to me. It's simple. If you can denounce this one thing, 1 point, my whole ministry of atheism, of trying to set the captives free, is based on one simple.
I'm like, deciding, if I want to stay up for a couple hours, do I drink one more cup of coffee? I'm not too jittery. It never stops me from sleeping. I just don't like feeling jittery. But I don't like feeling tired either. So I don't know. I think I am going to go make a cup of coffee, maybe pour some soda. It's almost 10 o'clock, so I need to get my daughter to bed for school. So yeah, I'm going to let it play for a second. I'll be right back.
Principle. And it's very easy. If you can denounce this, fine. I will retire tomorrow. But all of Christianity gets kneecapped by this. All of Islam gets kneecapped by this. All these divisive religions that preach a concept of hell to other people's traumas and their misery, it's this. We are under no accountability to understand how anything works. I have a hard enough time understanding how big the world is. You're trying to tell me I am under an accountability to not only know how the universe works, how everything comes together, but I also got to know what the fucking God of this universe thinks about homosexuality. I got to know what his opinion is about my genitalia. I got to know what it thinks about mixed fabrics. It's ridiculous.
Sir, calm down.
Smoking crack.
Why are you on? Yeah, are you on drugs? Why are you acting like this? Calm down.
Why am I acting like this? Because it's important. Because people are being hurt. This is what I was trying to say to you guys. You guys are all Americans. You don't quite get it. I'm in Canada, and I go to every of the street preachers. And one of the things I always go to them is I point to January 6th. I point to Christian nationalism that is this fascism that is building on our steps. These fascists overtook my capital city of Ottawa back in February. using misinformation and conspiracy theories, and all based around and powered and fueled by Christian nationalism. We should all.
I don't think you're really an atheist. I think you're one of those like closeted Christians who's just angry at God because your daughter has cancer.
Right, I am angry at God. But if I was
you sound like you are.
Wait, how the hell can you be angry at God if you don't even believe in God?
I'm saying I think he does believe. He's like closeted, does believe in God. He's just angry at God.
See this fascism rising? Do you not see
this guy got to be high on something?
Sir, yeah, I know. Like Hitler was a fucking atheist. Stalin was an atheist.
Well, I mean, Hitler wasn't an atheist. Stalin was, but Hitler wasn't. All right. All right. So, and Jimmy's in his passion, you know, but I don't think he necessarily means he's angry at God, but angry at the results of God, right? You can not believe in a thing, but still be angry at the results of that belief, right? Like, you know, I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't even really believe he fucking ever existed. I don't believe in Yahweh. But I can believe the ramifications these beliefs have on the society that I live in because I can see those ramifications. I dedicate a good chunk of my channel to pointing out those ramifications. So, yeah, like while I agree with the notion that, hey, when Christians say I hate God, no, I can't hate something that I don't believe in, but I can hate the effects of it, right? You know, I don't hate Voldemort because Voldemort didn't exist. But I don't know, if some cult of Voldemort sprung up and they were being harmful to people, well, I can dislike and hate that, right? Because that's something that's happening within reality that I can despise. Now, there's been a couple characters written well enough that as I read them, I really didn't like them very much, even though I knew that they were fictitious and didn't exist. Stephen King is really good at that, especially greatest of all time. But I don't walk away from that book hating it. I don't hate that character when I put the book down, maybe in the moment, but not when I put it down, because I understand it's fictitious. Now, I can read a book such as like Mein Kampf and hate everything it represents. I can read a book like the Bible and despise everything it represents. I can despise the effects that those books have on society. That's a very possible thing.
Okay, it's Christian nationalism that is fueling this fascism in America. It's Christian nationalism that's fueling the fascism in Canada.
This is absolutely
So I do
correct.
have a right to be upset.
Nobody understands
go to church
maple syrup.
every week, which Christians go to church every week and preach a
What's
doctrine
maple syrup? Oh, what's that comment? I don't get it.
that we are going to go to.
It's the maple syrup. It is.
It is the maple syrup.
Yo, well, what's this dude's name? The guy that's talking.
It's Jimmy.
I'm Jimmy Lew.
Jimmy. Now, Jimmy, it seems like you have a false concept of God to begin with, right? So I know you don't believe.
I don't believe
in God, but the concepts that you're saying is a false ideology to begin with.
I don't care about God. I don't care about God. God's not the issue.
You sound like you're really upset
Religion
about God,
is.
sir.
Christianity.
I don't know who that was speaking, and I know it wasn't ETT, but there for a second in my headphones, I thought I heard ETT. I'm like, when did ETT get there? But I know it wasn't him, but it sounded like him.
What's the right concept of God?
Speaking of which, like I said, I was going to cover some of the Kanye West comments because I've covered like the Black Hebrew Israelites recently, and it seems like maybe Kanye West, who has professed himself a Christian, might be just a little bit more. It might be Black Hebrew Israelite. You know, I might cover that tomorrow, but I haven't decided yet.
That's the problem. I care. You know what I care about most of all? I care about the most single-handedly, the most destructive concept that man has ever come up with, and that's the concept of hell. It divides us. It causes untold misery to the millions of people.
So, Jimmy, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Could it be that the Bible is actually true? That heaven and hell exists?
Nope.
How do you know that?
Hell doesn't exist in the Bible.
Well, how do you know that?
Okay, you know what? Because I believe in truths, and truths are what we can both
I
objectively.
asked you
agree.
how you know that the hell and heaven does not exist.
How do I
You're
know?
asking me
So
that
now
question?
you're asking a different
You
question
made
now,
an
though.
absolute claim. Back it up.
No, no.
You're
that's
asking a different question because first
I'm not
question
gonna
was
open
how
it.
do you know the Bible is
I'm not
wrong,
gonna think
and now
about
you're
opening it
asking if
until
heaven or
Jimmy
hell
Lew
exists.
Oh, I don't care
Right.
about
So my question is, how do you know?
Yeah, so watching this back was informative because I thought Otangelo left as soon as Wesley came in, and I was like, "What? Otangelo doesn't like Wesley?" But obviously, no.
That heaven and hell does not
Satan
exist.
can't come to the earth with a
And
shot.
that's the point. We are under no accountability to understand it.
So
Christianity.
can you answer my question? I asked you precise
You
question.
You do know that I was the one who said
Satan to
that.
the earth in peace. Without the peace, he can't come to the earth. So I shut it.
Wow. Wow.
Hold on.
Okay, I believe in
That
this
Christmas
because
feeling
this
you all
is
have
this is
for
chaos.
18 years.
Hey, are you the real Wesley Curry? Because
Oh,
there was-
shit.
I'm the real Wesley Curry. I'm the real asshole.
Oh
I
shit!
didn't know you. I
This
don't know who
dude
you
stopped
are,
by
but
my stream and was trolling the other day.
No,
I don't
he's
know.
not a
I don't know
troller.
about him, but
Toxic.
He's
This
had
is a
had
chaotic
some
stream
mystical
with people like Wesley in the stream. It's not possible
Okay.
to have any conversation
I'm just
whatsoever.
I turned on my camera listening to the chat. So
all right. So that is the real Wesley Curry. You don't have a concern about an imposter anymore. Assembly of God.
Bye,
Can
guys.
somebody just tell
Sure.
me who Wesley Curry is? I don't know who that is.
I don't
I'm
know
the
that
guy
it's either,
that's
but
not going to get $32,523, and I'm not
That's
going to get
Wesley.
an Omni UPC tattoo on my wrist or forehead. I'll be having pizza. Thank you.
Damn.
He's
Why
had
do people-
several mystical.
Why do people care? Who's Wesley?
can't
What does
even
he
believe
do?
Oh, I know.
Wesley's an eccentric type Christian.
That Christmas feeling that you had for 18 years, I decide whether it's open and given to you or shut and not given to you.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're Christ?
So he's a cool guy then. So
So,
Wesley's.
so are you? So Curry, are you Christ?
Jesus is God, and there is no other God beside him. He works in teams. He gives some people some things that they can do, and others he doesn't give things that they can do.
Okay, so you were saying that you were the one who's giving people signs. So with that being said, wouldn't that mean that you're something special, right?
And yeah, Otangelo did leave because of Wesley. I thought I remembered that right. Yeah, the Marvin the Martian thing. I've used it. I've used it. It really upsets OG. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like the Kermit the Frog thing. You know, I don't mean to pick on your voice, but I do. Mean to, I mean.
In scripture, it's I shall put the key to the house of David.
Yeah. Wesley has admitted to schizophrenia. Probably has some other issues as well. Like generally, I don't participate in streams with Wesley, but you know, like me and Godless Girl, we were the invited ones to, you know, and then they were opening it up so people could come in and kind of like talk to us, or we could have discussions or whatever. And yeah, so I just try to make people aware of it. And you know, when I do get into rooms with Wesley, which doesn't happen much, but it does, I will try to make people aware of it and just make sure that I'm not one that's going to be disparaging the mental illness. But at the same, not be afraid to engage with Wesley. But I know, like, I choose not to have Wesley on my stream because I'm afraid of how others might engage with him. Because I think you just need an understanding of that. And you need to really walk carefully. Like, I wouldn't want to trigger any mania, I wouldn't want to trigger anything.
David upon his head, he shall open that none shall shut, and shut that none shall open.
So
What
you're
I
the
open and what I shut is your soul. You have a skin
Oh my
in
goodness!
the
I
spiritual
can't even believe
level.
this.
And that skin holds up dead ashes. The skin is the love of Jesus. It's supernatural realm.
Scam.
And if your soul is healthy and white as snow and clean, it holds it up. If your soul is dead ashes and powerless and dull,
Are you
and
bathed in the
asleep,
blood?
the skin is called a head.
Yeah, this is
It
nothing but
holds
just
it up.
comedy shit.
But it also
Bathed
is
in the blood,
a porous skin. It can either be sort of opened like a mesh that a rain pouring from heaven can go in and wet those ashes and make you feel Christmassy and loving, gentle, kind. Or it can
Curry,
be shut.
nobody understands
That
what the
the
hell you're
rain
saying.
cannot go into your soul to give you that Christmas Day feeling.
Does anybody else understand what this
You
dude's
had that
saying?
Christmas Day feeling the moment Jesus said, "It is time," and Paul said, "Sad and delicious." And I'm given the authority to
Curry,
open
you're
it or
speaking in
to
a
shut
parabolic riddle, man. You're
it.
speaking
And
in a
that's what I
parabolic
did. I
riddle.
shut
Nothing to
you.
understand the things you're
You
saying,
don't
man.
have that
Yeah, okay,
Christmas
Wesley.
Day.
I'd rather hear that angry atheist screaming than your shit.
Yeah, you know, I want to hear you say, "Honey, where are..."
It's funny, you know, like, a Godless Girl calls Jimmy Lew and the angry atheist screaming. I didn't hear any screaming. I heard some passion, but I think and I'm not saying Jimmy is, but I know I was, and I think Jimmy would probably admit to a little bit of himself. A lot of us, when we come out of religions or when we first start saying or feel free enough to say what we really think, a lot of us are angry. I think that's like a natural stage of atheism, because essentially, even though the people lying to you don't understand that they are lying to you, when you come to the conclusion that it's all lies, you understand you've been lied to your entire life. And even though they're not at fault for those lies because they believe those lies, it doesn't make it any less a lie. And you can be angry if you look at the ramifications that the religion has, or especially if it affects you in your real life. And it doesn't even have to affect you directly, but just somebody that you know and care about. If you have that gay friend whose parents kicked them out because of what and who they love not being the same of what and who their parents love, or think that whatever thoughts that they have, that's a ramification on society. When you understand the epidemic of suicidal thoughts and suicide itself within the community, based upon the pressures that are placed upon them that are placed on no other group. The access to firearms that makes suicide a problem for almost every demographic now becomes exponentially more so for a stigmatized group. And when you're 16 years old and you're homeless and it just doesn't seem like you have too much prospects, and even the ones that are supposed to love you the most don't love you, well, it's very easy for those depressive thoughts to creep in, and it becomes this fucking plague that we can see in our society and say, you know what, we need to change that. Yeah, there's my rant of the day, I guess.
Kids with a mouthful of tuna salad and a UPC bar on your
Oh my goodness! This is crazy.
Well, just so you guys know, Wesley has some issues.
I can tell. You don't have to tell me that.
But I mean, mental issues.
Let's try this. Let's see if this works.
All right, so and that's gonna be one of a couple attempts just to say, hey, let's be aware of it. Eventually, I'm gonna end up engaging with him for a while, because I do believe it just becomes us for a while, or limited anyway, and it's just pretty much like him in there with us. So, but I don't know, like we're getting closer and closer to the actual stream time. So I'm thinking I'm only going to go maybe 10, 15 more minutes and then call it a night.
Jesus, would you have everybody on the earth that is Allah according to you gnash their teeth one time in the next minute? Now, if you have free will, you're not going to gnash your teeth. But if you do not have free will, you're going to gnash your teeth.
No.
Jesus said there's going to be a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth. What do you got, your own Bible too?
Well, I'm going to do that.
I'm almost thinking, because there's something else I wanted to cover real quick before I ended the stream. I had it in my head a little bit ago. But I think I can start wrapping it up. But there was like some shit happening in the real world. I mentioned the Kanye West stuff. And you know, I've been kind of reading up on, you know, shit I never really knew about, like Nick Cannon, which I've never really cared about Nick Cannon before. But just celebrities, some celebrities that have really made Black Hebrew Israelite type comments. So I'm thinking about doing a stream on that. I don't really want to show too much more of the Wesley shit because, you know, Wesley's Wesley, and I try not to disparage him. I don't think I don't think less of him. I think that you know, this could actually, you know, help him being able to talk to people. Probably, I mean, a lot of people with mental illness can really feel isolated within their lives. I don't really consider myself professional enough or maybe empathetic enough, the right word, to really feel responsible engaging on that type of thing. I try not to tell people what to do. I don't really know like the best course to take with Wesley. I know, you know, there's like two camps with Wesley. Talk to him, treat him normally, and then other camps is like don't ever talk to him at all. I think you know, like what I try to do, and I'm not even sure if it's right in the moment, is just try to make people aware of the situation that they are now indeed. Because when I talk about stigmatized groups, one of the most stigmatized groups that there is are people that have mental illness. And guess what? Most of us have mental illness. Most of us have mental illness. And oftentimes we stigmatize people for not behaving the way we want them to behave or not saying the things we want them to say. We oftentimes stigmatize what we fail to understand. I think part of it's human nature. But I know for me personally, I just want to be as responsible as I can. And in order to be as responsible as I can with it, I just have to be as aware of it as much as I can. I know when I first met Wesley, like I did my rage thing, and then I kind of found out more about him, and I'm like, well, you know, like I feel bad about that. Like I don't want to be that. If the person is not necessarily in control of some of the things they might be saying. So, you know, like it's one of these really tricky things that we're running into nowadays that just, you know, you can't expect everybody to feel about it the same way that you do. You can only really police yourself. And for me is I'm not really sure how to proceed in a lot of those conversations with Wesley because I'm just not trained in that and I don't want to fuck it up. But I do want people to understand what they're in, and maybe hopefully they'll police themselves, but that's on them to do so. So, you know, that was kind of odd, especially mixed with the energy because, you know, Jimmy brings his energy and then Godless Girl's going to bring her energy and they're going to go back and forth. It probably would be interesting to show that back and forth without the Wesley parts in there. But then again, like I said, this might be something that really helps him. And I wouldn't want to ever take that away. So it's such a hard thing. It's one of these things that I haven't figured out yet. With this new world that we live in of people being able to pretty much talk about whatever the fuck they want to talk about on these social media platforms, and we'll see how long we can do that, right? Like, because governments want to take that away. So, complex shit. You know what's not going to be too complex is, you know, Jimmy Lew going against the Preacher tonight. Because Preacher is just not very complex. Everything's perfection. And that's pretty easy. So, should be a really interesting one tonight. It's driving me crazy that I can't pull to my mind that thing I wanted to fucking talk about. I know, so one of them was Marty's fundraiser. I don't have the information up, but I've been meaning, like, I'm going to try to run that every time I stream, and I forgot to tonight. But Marty's having a fundraiser. She's moving out of her house. She needs to buy her car. She's getting close to her goal. So if you know Marty and you can help her out, please help out Marty. there was something else that was like important that I felt was like important. But I can't think of it right now, so I can't let it drive me nuts. But, you know, like I enjoyed having an opportunity to finally be on stream with Jimmy. I enjoyed his energy. I'm looking forward to seeing him do this thing and just get better and better. You know, we all do. The more you do a thing, the better you get at it. You see what sticks, what don't stick, what works, what don't work. But I love the energy and I love the passion for it. My daughter's like looking at me like she should be in bed, yo. But she knows I'm about to end, so she probably wants to say goodnight. So I'm going to let her say goodnight, and I'm going to say goodnight to all of y'all. 45 minutes. So let's throw that link back in the side chat. That's the link to the stream. 45 minutes. Jimmy Lew versus the Preacher. Preacher. I was gonna start breaking down out some Eminem lyrics, but like mid sentence, I'm like, yeah, I was just kind of dissing Eminem. Probably not break out the Eminem lyrics on the same stream. I kind of dissed Eminem for the first time in my life. Hey, the inconsistencies of being human. But all right, I'm gonna stop drinking this damn coffee. I'm starting to get a little jittery, a little sweaty. I'm gonna go say goodnight to my daughter. Y'all have a great night. And I'm going to try to stay awake, maybe be up for a little bit at the first part of the stream, because I like them better when they're live. So I'll see you guys soon.